Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode, another segment of stay-at-home interviews with urbanlifestylesa.co.za. I go by the name of Father's Kid, those that know me, and Matalane Ngobeni. And today we are going live with a representative of Brand SA. She will be joining us shortly. Let me just invite her. Please let me know if the sound is good. Please let me know if the picture quality is good. And don't forget to feel free to send in your questions. Today is we have a different type of interview going on. It's not an artist, it's not a celebrity, it's not, but it is someone who is a big part of a very big company in South Africa. And yeah, let me just tag her name here and tag the company, like pin her. Yeah, there you go. I don't think I can do two at a time, but anyway, yeah, so we will just be waiting for her to join us and we can get the show on the road. I look very, very pink today. I like it. I hope everyone has had a good day. I hope that the time changes don't confuse us, don't confuse anyone. We are working with people's schedules. We are working with time constraints and everything. So we just hope that everyone will be able to tune in when we have interviews that we have to conduct. And we do really, from me and from Urban Lifestyle, we do appreciate the support and we do appreciate the views and the viewers and everyone that joins our lives and interacts with us. Yesterday we had a very interactive interview. It was really nice. People, communicated and asked questions. So I hope today will be no different. I hope today you guys will be able to ask as many questions as you need to, even though you might not know much about business, but this will be a very insightful What do you mean? This will be a very insightful interview, not just for me, but I hope that it is for everybody, even you that's chilling at home that doesn't know anything about Brand SA. Hopefully your mind and your eyes will be opened up to a whole different world, a world of business, a world of, structure. Because, wow, Brand SA is a big deal. Remeti, I'm just waiting for her to join our live and request to go live with me so we can get the show on the road. There we go. Nazo, I hope picture quality is good, sound is good, everything. Nandi connecting. Hello.
Hi, hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Friday. How's your Friday been?
It's been very busy. Okay?
Have you been working?
Very busy. Yeah. But yeah,
you push. We have to do what we gotta do.
true.
Okay, let's get the show on the road. Let's get the ball rolling. First question from me. Please tell us more about Brand SA, what it's about, its roots, and the part that you play in the company.
Okay, great. So, Brand South Africa organization is responsible for and marketing to the so in terms of international marketing, the objective is to create a brand attracts investment for the country. And then we also have a mandate where to get South Africa to be patriotic and to rally behind the brand. So that is in a nutshell, brand South Africa.
Okay.
And in terms of up the digital aspects, or in terms of media marketing, websites, that is essential for you.
Okay, so what did you study for your position, and what you studied, is that in correspondence with your job now?
Sure. So I studied IT, so I've got technology. I
Okay.
then picked up in marketing, and I'm currently doing my master's in digital marketing. And in terms of my studies, it marries perfectly with the work that I do, because with digital marketing, you're basically bringing information technology and marrying it to how you communicate and reach customers. So the two qualifications that I have speak very well to the role that I do.
Okay, because it's not all the time where you get people that are doing like stuff that corresponds with the stuff that they studied, like the course that they studied. So that's where my question was rooted from. Um, what are the challenges that you face in the line of work that you do?
Sure. So firstly, with Brand South Africa, we are managing the reputation of the country, which we don't have full control of. So, we have issues that impact the country that we are not always in control of. I'll give you an example with COVID-19, which,
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the year, no one would have anticipated that this pandemic would have affected all countries across the globe.
Very
So
true.
the challenges where, the work is not structured. And it's a challenge in that sometimes you're overwhelmed and you can't have a clear format on this is what the next 6 months is going to look like. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the challenge. But if I can speak broadly to the digital marketing space, I think some of the challenges, which are also opportunities, is that it's very dynamic. Things change all the time. You have to, it's Instagram today, it's TikTok tomorrow. We
Yeah.
know the hip and happening tomorrow. So those are some of the challenges in that it's an environment that requires you to learn constantly. But we're also seeing a lot of issues that are rising. I think on the digital and social media space, we're seeing a lot of fake news that's
Okay.
just come to the surface with COVID-19. So those are just some of the challenges I think the industry as a whole is facing. I think there's a lot of cyberbullying as well. So those are some of the things that need to be addressed.
Um, I hear you talking about like protecting the country's reputation, and you find that sometimes things can get out of hand. So I'm not asking for like direct like scoop, but like what are some of the strategies that you guys use in the company or as the digital marketing team that you use to tackle the issues like the rumors? I think there's a whole lot of things that are happening. Speculations are running wild. People are saying this, others are saying that. So what are some of the strategies that you use to control some of those things?
Yeah, sure. So that really speaks to the work that we do as Brand South Africa. So the first thing that we promote on a daily basis is ensuring that we promote positive stories to balance out some of the negativity that you might find in the media space. That's the
Okay.
stuff that we do. But from a strategic perspective on how we would go about managing the reputation of the country, one of the things that we do is we work very closely with stakeholders,
Mm-hmm.
work with the media, we will work with the business sector, we will work with government and civil society to make sure that the voice of Brand South Africa reaches as much people as possible in terms of managing perceptions and reputation of what's being said about the country.
Do you not sometimes feel like, not like necessarily you're gonna get like backlash, but let's say for example you speak on something and then it doesn't necessarily happen the way you predicted that it's gonna happen, and this happens with everything, like a whole lot of things, but don't you get backlash for something like that?
We do, and that's the nature of marketing, right? You don't know how your campaign or your message is going to be received. So
Mm-hmm.
we've seen a lot of go under of backlash on social media, not any names, but you've seen some of the financial institutions where they'll post something and that group called Black Twitter will come for you. But what's important in my career that I've noticed is people want to be engaged. People want to be acknowledged when you speak to them.
Very
So
true.
biggest mistake that any brand can make is when there's a backlash for you not to respond or for you to walk away from it. Because in as much as we're interacting on social media, behind that account that you're not seeing, or behind the Twitter account, is a human being, which you have to address at a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
So backlash, we have to make sure that we address it, we acknowledge it. Where it's a case where, information is not clear, we have to verify and offer an official statement to say, this is what we meant. If people maybe interpret that we said in a different,
Yeah.
we have to defend it and say this is what we meant. But the most important when there's backlash is to not ignore people. That's the biggest mistake that people make in PR. Because what happens, I'm then going to tell my friends and my friends and my family because I'm now annoyed. So the first thing is always to respond. And what we try and do is to try and respond offline if you can. I mean,
Okay.
it also depends, but yeah.
So
And
how do, when you say offline, what exactly do you mean?
so you have to gauge every scenario in how you respond. So you can't have a formula. in how you respond. So if we have one person that's lashing out and it hasn't spiraled out of control, you can tackle it by addressing that person off. But if
Okay.
already escalated and you've got a whole community that's upset, then you have to address it on the platform.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Who are your main clients or investors that Brand SA attracts and attacks and goes for?
Okay. So our potential clients is the whole world, if I can put it that way. We want
Okay.
we want investors to come in from all parts of the world. But we obviously then have strategic areas of focus that we work on. So Brand South Africa has presence in the UK, in the US, and China.
Okay.
Predominantly the key markets that we would target. But then in terms of the work that we do at head office, we target a wider audience, but those would be the key starting points in terms of targeting.
You speak on Brand SA being in the UK and the US and China, but in what aspect does Brand SA like support local brands and local companies?
Okay, cool. So in the work that Brand South Africa does, we work closely with stakeholders. So I'll give you an example. We work with Proudly South Africa,
Okay.
South African, who are an entity that promotes the buying of locally manufactured goods and products. And what they have is a portal called RSA Made. I'll get you the correct address there. So those are just some of the ways in which we work with the various industries to promote local brands. And then in our marketing and campaigns as Brand South Africa, we will then promote the Buy Local campaign. So we
Okay.
will call South Africans in our messaging and campaigns to say, support local because it's important in driving the South African economy. So those are just some of the ways in which we would promote local talent. And then we also have some of our programs where, we will partner with the local talent in some of
Okay.
our.
So local talent, referring to artists and musicians and all of that.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Brand SA did a campaign with Play Your Part, right?
Yeah.
Please tell us more about the concept and the focus for that particular campaign.
Okay, great. So Play Your Part is one of our exciting domestic campaigns, which is really a call to action to South Africans to play your part in building the country that we want and building a better South Africa. I'm sure you guys would have seen in a lot of the government communications during COVID, it's a lot around playing your part and calling on solidarity during COVID-19. So Play Your Part is an ongoing campaign that Brand South Africa promotes domestically to get South Africans to start looking at ways that they can contribute to making South Africa better. So what Play Your Part is about is wena lerato in your space, in your community, what are you doing to make someone's life better? Whether it's helping the children in your community with homework, whether it's helping the elderly in terms of their needs, whether it's coaching young children that can play netball. That is really what Play Your Part is about. It's what am I doing to advance myself and the communities that I live in.
Okay, interesting. The whole Black Lives Matter thing has been trending all week long. It fueled off of George Floyd's murder that happened in the States.
Yes.
Keyword the States. We are in South Africa, brands, but people have taken part. A lot of South Africans have taken part in it. So, what part has Brand South Africa played, if any, to work with whoever is coming up with this initiative, or how has Brand SA, have you guys even been part of this whole Black Lives Matter movement?
Mm, okay. So I think the starting point is where you mentioned that it's in the States, right? But the organization Brand South Africa, one key thing that we do is monitor environmental factors, what's happening globally and domestically, and how does that impact on South Africans. So it can't be that, things that are happening in the US, we are going to turn a blind eye to and not respond if we need to, or ignore. Because what we do know is that we live in an era where globalization is taking. So the world is, what happens in the US is going to affect us tomorrow, or what happens in Zimbabwe. We can't turn a blind eye. If Zimbabwe is on a riot, it's going to have impacts on South Africa with people looking for refuge and so forth. So what happens in other countries is very important for us as Brand South Africa, and we take that into um, in our planning. What happens in the global environment, to some extent it might even affect travel and trade with the various countries, right? But to answer your question, we haven't responded that as Brand South Africa. But what we do in terms of the issues that we pick up in the environment is we would then promote messages around tolerance. So those are some ongoing campaigns that we have when we see these issues that are happening in other countries. Is, what does this mean for South Africa in our local context? What's happening, and what is it that we then need to promote and communicate? And at this current stage, what's quite important is to communicate tolerance amongst the various races and
Mm-hmm.
responsible, active citizenship, and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, you guys are involved with SAFAT, right? 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Please tell us more about that one. Your involvement with that.
Okay. That's quite an exciting project. So that is the SAFTAs 2020. And just maybe to elaborate, SAFTAs is the South African Film and Television Awards, which take place annually to recognize and celebrate the talent within South Africa's film and television industry. The awards are hosted by the NFVF, which is the National Film and Video Foundation. And this year's awards, we partnered with the NFVF in hosting the SAFTAs 2020. As Brand South Africa, the creative industry is an important part of building South Africa's nation brand. We understand that our artists, let me not say this, play a role in how South Africa is perceived. We've got artists that go and perform internationally, and those are people that are flying the flag for us. So our participation was really to celebrate the talent in the industry, call on South Africans to continue supporting the local film and television industry, and look at ways in how we can partner to develop the industry even further. So the main awards were scheduled to take place at the end of March at the Sandton Convention Center, but due to COVID-19, the awards didn't take place, and an online version of the awards took place on YouTube.
And was that a success just as much as the actual, if people were there physically for the award show?
Did you watch the awards?
I
No,
did not know about them.
know. Sure. I think in light of the circumstances we find ourselves in with COVID-19, a lot of organizations and brands are looking to the online space to find ways in which they can execute projects.
True. Yes.
But in terms of numbers, the main awards were broadcast on uh, television, SABC. So you would have definitely had a much wider reach in awards, because you also have to understand South Africans have a digital divide. And what I mean by that is that only 50% of the population has access to the internet, right?
Oh,
So not
interesting.
to the internet. And then with that 50%, you still have data prices that are quite high in South Africa.
Yes.
So that makes, the transition to doing things online exclusive. So it excludes parts of our population. So that's where we are, I think, with the SAFTAs. It had to not have been, it would have been on a much bigger scale if you had the main awards televised on TV
Definitely, definitely. What more can we expect from Brand South Africa this year?
this year. So this year is a bit challenging, right? And I don't think for Brand South Africa only, but I think for any person, be it in South Africa or any part of the world, because no one knows what's going to happen with COVID-19, how it's going to hold, what impact it's going to have on countries and economies. So this is the first day, no one has solid plans as a individual and even as country. But from a Brand South Africa perspective, we obviously have a great task ahead of us. In 2020, we definitely need to look at the post COVID-19 strategy, with the economy going into, we're easing the lockdown restrictions, and we're trying to pick up the economy again. So that is really the key main focus in the next coming months or weeks. It's the post COVID-19 recovery strategy for the country in various areas.
My last question for you is, I'm not asking you this question as a representative of Brand South Africa, but as an employee, Akoteng, you work there, so you have more insight to what is happening with the whole pandemic. Do you think that in the next, let me say, 2 months, where do you think we'll be in terms of the whole lockdown situation and the COVID pandemic being a thing?
Yeah, that's a very difficult one to answer. But, even if I had information based on my role at Brand South Africa, it would be confidential information that I wouldn't be able to disclose.
Okay,
Um, there's non-disclosures that we have to respect in the work that we do as government.
I
But I
see.
am that in the next 2 months, as a country, we would have flattened the curve. That is the most important thing for us as a country. It's to flatten the curve in the next 2 months. But
Okay.
in what happens and what, I wouldn't be able to speak on it on any platform.
Okay, I understand. It's all right.
Thank you for asking.
It's okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really got a lot of insights on what Brand SA is about, who Brand SA is. So thank you for giving us your time here at Urban Lifestyle. Yeah, I wish you all the best future endeavors. Personally, business wise, just wish you all the best and thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great chatting to you, Lerato, and I wish you all the best as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. And that was Brand SA with a digital day skirt. digital sorry guys, with the digital marketing representative from the company. Those that joined us late, there was a representative, as I said, from Brand South Africa. Brand South Africa is basically a brand, like a company that manages the South African brand. But from me, Father's Kid, I'm from Urban Lifestyle, sa.co.za. Till next time, I will see you probably next Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great weekend. Be responsible. Stay safe. Stay sanitized. Much love. Mwah.